Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series number 67, and this is Voyager class Skipjack. Skipjack, for those that don't know, is a direct yellow redeco of the Constructicon Rampage, who was one of the first Constructicons, I think it was the first, actually, to be released in Studio Series way back when. And he was released in this new yellow color specifically to give us a more movie-accurate Devastator. Because in the movie, the leg that's formed from either Rampage or Skipjack is yellow, not red. So, we get this guy. Plus, he's just an easy redeco, and he is a movie character, so it works. Luckily, I was able to get this guy before filming my Devastator review. Right before. I was actually in the middle of doing Overload's review when I managed to get this guy with Blitzwing. So I delayed Devastator so I could review this guy and then use him in that review so we can see what Devastator should really look like. Anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Skipjack's packaging. We're going to open him up, see his instructions. At some point in the video, I'll take a look at his backdrop, and then we'll see Skipjack himself in both his vehicle and robot modes. I'm not going to show off his combined mode. That's all going to be saved for the Devastator review. I'll show you all those transformations and the final product. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Skipjack comes in your standard Voyager class packaging. Like I said, he's number 67. Got a nice little render of him on the front, which may or may not be recolor from Rampages. I honestly don't remember. You got him front and center. His head's pointed down to make him fit in the box. Here's a close-up of his big old creepy face. He's like, I like chocolate. And you bring it around. Here's his renders. And robot vehicle mode. Takes 22 steps to transform. And then, shows off his backdrop. And, same old verbiage that they use for all the Constructicons. And on the side, of course, you got your not very accurate render of Devastator with the little face symbol up top. So here's our instructions. We got Skipjack on the front, his number, all that good stuff. And these, I imagine, are identical to Rampage's instructions. So you got his robot to vehicle mode, along with how to store his accessories. Put the stand underneath, put his little gun things up top. And yeah. Turn this around, and this shows you how to go from vehicle to his foot mode they're going to use for Devastator. So, pretty simple. Not too much extra going on here. Now here is Skipjack in his vehicle mode. And you can see he's just a little bulldozer. Looking really nice in his construction vehicle yellow, which I think it really suits it a lot more than Rampage's red. Still got the nice silver paint here on his, I don't know what you call it, his scoop or pusherizer. And overall, just very nice. Got paint in all the right places, a lot of black. You got this metallic blue for the windows. He rolls quite well on 3 wheels, here, here, and here. See his little head hiding out there. There's his robot stand. And yeah, he just looks good. Now, I want to bring out Rampage, one, so you can see how they compare to one another as far as their colors and all that. And yeah, they're an interesting pair because it's one of the rare instances with a redeco to where literally the only thing that's changed out is a plastic color. All the same paint apps, the same tampos, which you can't see in this mode, but we'll see it in robot mode. However, there is one unintentional difference between them. So a lot of people noted that Rampage, this black piece right here, is misassembled. It's backwards. And unfortunately, you can't fix it without doing some pretty major work on your toy. That requires some desoldering and it's not good. Here you can see what it's supposed to look like because luckily they fixed it for Skipjack. See, it's kind of got a smoother surface, kind of like a grill going on here. This side of it is supposed to be the robot abs. So that's why it doesn't really line up well with the other surfaces. So I am really happy that they finally fixed that. Fix his wheel. It looks a lot better now that's been fixed. And it's one of those things where I would have noticed it had nobody, said anything. But, now that I do know about it, I can't unsee it. And this bugs me quite a bit. Doesn't look as bad in robot mode, but yeah. So that is good. I'm glad they fixed it. In some initial in-hand photos, it hadn't been fixed. It hadn't been turned around, so a lot of people were disappointed. But luckily, once they started popping up in stores here very recently, we've come to find that they are indeed improved and fixed from the initial release. Right now it's time for the transformation. And because I never did a review from Rampage back in the day, much to my regret, I don't have another transformation video, so we're gonna do it here. So the first thing you wanna do is go ahead and remove these accessories. We'll just kind of pop right out from the side there, set them aside. Go ahead, open his treads up. You're just gonna pull them here. They're tabbed in right there. So pull them all the way out and go ahead and just wriggle that off. That becomes the stand. Go ahead and flip that piece out and then set that off to the side. Right now what we want to do is separate the shovel or scoop or whatever. You want to kind of pull this out and then swing that up like so. Right here, there you go. Now we're just gonna separate the arms. Just swing them out just like that. Now let's go ahead and rotate his torso upwards. He's got this little tail thing underneath that you want to swing out. These panels, you're going to push in, like so. Now for the arms, go ahead, bring these little rectangular pieces up like this. Bring the arms down. Now you want to swing this finger all the way around like so. On this side, you want to pop it off of here. Bring it out, pose, whatever you got to do. Now for the treads, you can let them hang down. You know, like gravity's got them. You can swing them up out of the way. They're meant to be kind of like little whips in this mode. So whatever you want to do there. So just go ahead, do the same things here. Pop that out. All right, now on the bottom, you can rotate this to open and close the hands, give them more room to move. All right, now these wheel assemblies pegged in here, you want to pull them out, push them down, and then you push them back in to a lower slot. That just makes the wheels stick out less on his arms, like so. Go ahead, fix his neck and his head and all that. I'll push this guy down. Oh, somehow got pushed down already. Okay, well you want to make sure it's like this, where the wheel's not just like sticking up. And you take his stand, plug it into the bottom of his little tail leg thing there, like so. Alright, let's kind of normalize everything. Alright, with his torso, it's not really supposed to be straight up. It's supposed to kind of go back a bit and then up. About like this. So, you know, small detail. And then for his little gun things, you could have just left them on here for storage if you wanted to. But the way they're supposed to go is like this. They plug in these little slots here where his weird double thumbs are. Let's fix these fingers a little bit. All right. So here he is. This is Skipjack, also known as Yellow Rampage. And, you know, overall, he's got a very cool, very unique robot mode. I've seen some people compare it to a mythological Naga because of the tail leg, which I can see that. But anyway, he's just got a very unique silhouette. He's very, very cool. You can see he's got this very insectoid face, like, well, honestly, most movie Decepticons. He's got this long neck that moves up and down. The head moves freely on hinge here, and then a ball joint at the base of the skull. The arms, they go up, they go kind of forward and back a bit. His fingers, the thumbs move like this. The guns pop up if you're not careful. Let's see, they get a second joint right here. These fingers, you know, go up and down, bend at the tips. The whips can move around. He's got kind of like a high bicep swivel there, which is neat. And then he's got some waist articulation, so you can get some kind of dynamic poses, haunch him over, whatever you got to do. So overall, pretty bendy little fella here. And honestly, I really like him. And I think that because of the new yellow color for most of his body, it helps certain details stand out a lot more, like his eyes are much more noticeable against a yellow head. He's got these tampos here, which you can see right there. It says, warning, keep clear, and they are the same exact tampos that Rampage has. So, like I said, paint apps, tampos, they all seem to be exactly the same. Now let's go ahead and show off his backdrop real quick. And again, it's just the same two pyramids with Devastator Shadow, and Studio Series 67, Transformers, Devastator head. And luckily this backdrop works pretty well for this character. If you can back it up a little more, there you go. Because he doesn't have a lot of depth front to back. Now he does have wide arms though, so it does kind of make the back of it want to get pushed down. But it works for him. Because of his bright yellow, he stands out quite well against that kind of dreary desert backdrop. And overall, I'd say this works for him. Here's a look at our two Naga boys side by side. And, they really do look like just a pair of twins. So it's something I really appreciate, because having Skipjack now, you can go ahead, you can have your movie-accurate Devastator, and then you can still have Rampage on the side, who did appear in his red colors as a separate Decepticon in the movie. So it really just works out. He ends up battling Bumblebee in Revenge of the Fallen while they're holding Sam's parents hostage. So you get to reenact that scene while still having Devastator doing his thing, which is a win-win if you ask me. Again, here is the abdominal misassembly. So that's what it looks like on Skipjack. And here on Rampage, you can see it's just that flatter detailing there. So again, not a huge detail, and something most people miss until somebody went and pointed it out to them. But again, it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I am happy they fixed it. Okay, and here is our final look, unless they release more, of course, of all of the Constructicons in their robot modes. So you get the whole team here. There's 9 of them present. 8 out of the 9 will be able to make Devastator. And, you have to alternate between Skipjack and Rampage. But, here it is. After a year and a half of waiting, a whole bunch of money later, we finally get to see the team assembled. And they just look so good together. They look like such a motley crew of just like rejects and lowlifes that I love it. I absolutely adore this set. Now, for anyone that hasn't been following online, there has been a leak and even some leaked images of a Devastator gift set that'll be coming down the pike, and it appears to have some extra paint applications, some weathering effects, so it's kind of hard to tell from the pictures. Personally, I'm kind of annoyed that they would release a whole Devastator set with differences to these toys after we just spent all this time buying these and money. But that is the nature of the beast. This is far from the first time something like that has happened. Just look at the Super Jinrai and God Bomber from the Legends toy line that, as soon as people bought the 2 of them, they came out with a box set that had better paint apps, more headmasters. So, again, this isn't exactly new. But I'm not going to let that dampen my spirits, because I'm really excited to see this. Now, the next time you see all these guys together, it's going to be in their vehicle modes at the start of my Devastator review, which I will be premiering exactly 1 hour after this one. So for anyone watching this as it comes out, stay tuned. I can't wait to show off Devastator to you. I'm going to do the whole transformation, starting from their vehicle modes. Show off how he works. I'll swap in, Skipjack and Rampage. And also see if I can't get him in a more quadrupedal stance than what the instructions call for. We'll see how that works out. So, stay tuned for that. All right, now, my final thoughts on Skipjack. Personally, I think this is the toy we should have received way back when instead of Rampage, if the whole goal was to build Devastator. It is kind of annoying that we all settled for the red one thinking like this is all we're gonna get, and then after all of the other Constructicons were released, they're like, oh, also Skipjack. And you're like, oh, well, that's cool. I mean, I already bought Rampage. So, you know, it is annoying if you didn't necessarily want an extra Constructicon. For me, I would have bought them both anyway, because they work. You know, they're both movie characters. They're both quite accurate to their actual movie appearance. Unlike, say, the KSI boss toy, which I didn't even pick up because it was just a lazy redeck of Nitro Zeus. So, you know, I'm happy this guy exists. I kind of like him a little bit more than Rampage. I think the yellow works a lot better for this construction vehicle, and again, it does just kind of help show off some of his features a little more. And of course, he is slightly improved because he's not misassembled, so there is always that. However, for anybody that already bought Rampage and don't feel like double dipping on this mold, you can go without it. You know, if the red leg on Devastator doesn't bother you, then more power to you. So, highly recommended if you don't have Rampage already, or if you don't mind double dipping. But of course, that is only how I feel about this toy. Now that I've said my piece, I want to know what you all think. Are you planning on picking up Skipjack? Is he worth buying again if you already have Rampage? Or did you hold out on Rampage hoping you'd get this guy? I bet there's at least a few of you out there that did that. Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know that you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this long-awaited look at Skipjack, aka Yellow Rampage. And with all that said, I will see you, well, in an hour.